Welcome everyone. I hope you enjoyed your lunch. I'm Pablo. I'm engineer manager at Viaplay. You could find me. I realized yesterday that my name is not so common. Then if you look for me on LinkedIn, you will find the first one, me. Okay. Also on Twitter, people sang. Yeah, I engineer manager at Viaplay. Viaplay is a Swedish streaming platform. We are since October last year in the UK. But today I don't come here to talk about how our amazing product or how our product teams deal with 7.5 million subscribers in 40 countries, or how we deal with big crashes in real time and that kind of things maybe next year. Today I want to talk about my past. I was agent in my past. Okay, I was an agent of change. I was consultant in several companies to help them to change the way they work and implement new things for DevOps, Agile, best practices, and so on. Today I have my co-speaker, a bit shy, but he wrote all the bad jokes on the. And then, as agent of change, yeah, I have learned a lot of lessons over the years, and never, or sometimes you succeed, sometimes you lose, sometimes you fail, but always you learn. The first things first is why people, what organizations look for a change, and a British philosopher, Alan Watt, said that an organization change, well, he said people, a person, but it's the same. Organization change for two reasons. By inspiration, someone come here and then say, oh, that looks good, I will try in my company something that could improve something we are doing and so on. Or by desperation, Yeah, it didn't work, that was neither, let's try another thing. For the first, it's easy. The first, when someone is inspired by something and then get a good basement of the company, good practices and so on, adding something more is really nice. It's really easy to do. But the second is the thing, The big deal is here. When you are trying different things and no one is working, and then you try something different. And what happens here? That sometimes you ask for help. You ask for help, and as I grew up as a teenager in the 80s, 90s, all my references are in the television. Then I look in my mind for something that could explain that kind of how companies that are desperate try a change. And then I remember Gordon Ramsay. Gordon Ramsay have in the early 20s, in the early 2000s, he released the Hell Kitchens program. But today we will talk about the other one, the Kitchens Nightmare. I think they also did something with hotels, but I don't remember well. And the Gordon Ramsay change management model. It's something that in all the episodes he did quite the same. Step one. Understanding the customer problem. With that attitude of expecting nothing, he go to the restaurants and then ask for the most popular dish in the menu. Always that kind of restaurants ask for Gordon or the program, or producer or whatever, because in the past, several years ago, they was popular in the region, or they have some recognized some award or that kind of things. But for things, they start traveling. They get bad reviews, losing clients, chefs or people, employees leave the company, and that kind of things. I'm quite sure that you will thinking about something related with that in the companies you work at. And then what happened when Gordon came here? Then he did the step one, the assessment. we try the dishes and find that is something weird, bad, completely, yeah, we just have lunch. I don't deep in details of that kind of things, but second thing that step 2, the audit. He go to the kitchen, he go to the refrigerators, to the storage, and so on, and then what all he thinks is mess. Mess is bad practices, is things that doesn't work as expected or as ought to be. Yeah, next step is something that as consultant we, or at least I always try, that a field trial, Gordon, with his kind, humble, and friendly attitude, set up his chef jacket and work with the kitchen for a service, a lunch or a dinner, and then see by himself the problems that happened in the kitchen, how the team collaborates, how the chef lead the kitchen assistants, how the kitchen talk with the waiters, the manager of the local or the restaurant talk with the clients, and so on. Sometimes he's able to save the day and then finish something that, okay, today not all the clients, not all the customers think that we are the bad restaurant in the town, but the result always is the same. Gordon said that things have to change. And how Gordon do that change? He always follow the next step, that taking actions. First thing, renewal of the restaurant, always. I think that the producers of that program have to do some kind of spin-off of the reform of the restaurant, because they did so quick and then with quite good result. This is the first thing. Reform the restaurant, changing something superficial, but that for the client is important to see a restaurant that is not a mess, that is clean, that is nice, is new, and so on. And the second thing, implement new ideas. Gordon creates a new menu with less dishes, more or less. Typically, he go to the restaurant and then have a menu of 20, 30 different dishes, and no one exactly know what the different are between that salad and that another salad, because it's only one ingredient or different and so on. And then Gordon reduced to a menu of 10, 15 dishes, easy to do, easier to make, and so on, and then showed the queue how to use that. And that's all. It's, as we say, I come from Barcelona, I think I don't see that. I come from Barcelona, and in Spanish we say, when we finish something, we say chimpum. It's more or less means that, okay, it's all is fixed, all is up and running, my work is done, bye. And then Gordon leaves. It's something like, okay, bye. What happens in the restaurant? What happened in that company? Really, actually, he changed some processes, some tools, but he doesn't change the culture. If someone is not able to do properly a dish, he don't show how to do well that. He don't set the best practices to cook a fish. Only, okay, this is a new menu, this for you, bye. But he never changed the culture. And what happened when Gordon and his team leaves, and then people of the restaurant get along again without that energy that Gordon said, without the cameras, without the lights, and so on? They come back to their all warm, comfortable way of work. They come back to the culture, because the culture is what happens in a company when no one is seeing. Most canonical way of see that is that the culture are the values, the beliefs, and practice that has been developed and reinforced over time. Over time, that factor is really, really important. We are not able, or no one is able to change the culture of a company in a short time, a couple of weeks, in a couple of days, because that culture was there for a long time. There's a lot of relationship between the things that happens in the company that don't allow you to change. Think about the culture like a tree, you know? In a tree, you have the top, the organization, the hierarchy, the strategies, the management, policies, metrics, processes. This is the structural part of a culture. It's external, it's visible, it's easy to change, okay? But underneath, underground in that case, we have all the other topics that are really, really, really hard to change. It's the inside the story of the company, what is okay or is not okay in the company, the informal leadership, the relationship between the employees, the relationship between employees and managers, and I think the most important thing is what is rewarded and what not in that company. And if it depends on who do something that is rewarded or not. That said, that raises the bar in the company, in the culture company. That is the real culture of the company. It's internal, it's visible, it's really hard to change. Well, you cannot see or touch the culture because it's underneath, you know. It's strongly present in the persons of the organization. It's present in how that people behave. You could see in everything. You could see that in how that company hire people, in how that company fire people, in how that company collaborate with partners, in everything, in how they navigate change. That is as Gordon's. I come back. Do you want to take a photo? Yeah. No worries. If you think about what Gordon's did in every episode of the program, you see that is quite the same, but have not real impact in the long term of the organization. Because changing a culture is hard, and with hard I mean H-E-R-D. Hell, you really don't know how hard is this shit. And yeah, I know that this is grammatically incorrect because there are two negations, but it's for emphasize more that it's really, 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 really hard. You know, I was there. I know that this is that is really hard. But you are here for know about how to change culture. You know, we want it all. We want it now. That's some for Queen, same for me. And I will give you some advices of how to do that, some ideas of how to proceed, how to think about. Because changing a culture is covering about a lot of things. I will show you quickly 4+ user models of change. The plus is because it's 5, but maybe 1 is something that I don't like the most, but it's interesting for introduce some aspect. Okay. First of all, Lisa Ackerman types of change. Not all the changes are the same. Usually, we think that changing something is like the first thing, something that enhances or correct existing aspect of organization, often focus on improvement, skill or processes. We are in the bottom of the tree. We are changing something that is in the structure of the company. The second type of change that Linda Ackerman said is transitional. That means that we know we are here, and then we know that we want to go there. That is a place or a moment or a state that we think is better for us. And then it's easy to move from here to there because we know we're here. And the third one is like the company has to change their mindset, have to change the structure, the processes, the culture, the strategy, everything to really get something new. and something new that could improve the organization. This is the hardest part. Mainly, you will find information, you will find articles, books, and so on, related with the second time, the transitional, because it's easier to do. The third is the hard one, and then you have to get other points of view, get other aspects of the how our own organization works, and so on. And for that, it's interesting also the work of Dr. Mari Lippitt that said that complex chain model. In the complex chain model, she said that for do a change, you need to set a vision, to improve the skills, to set incentives, to get resources for do that change, and set up an action plan. With all of that, you get success. If you don't get vision, you will create something that no one's know where we are going. It's something like in transitional, you don't know the next step, the next the goal. You know, if you don't have skills or you don't change the skills, you get anxiety because people are under-skilled for do that change. If you don't set the incentives, and this is really interesting, I will give a side note. This is something that, as a tree, a large service organization, the culture follows the structure. You have to change the processes to change the culture. You have to change the policies, you have to change the hierarchy, to really change the culture. But in tiny, young organization, the structure follows the culture. You change the culture and say, okay, this is not allowed at all, and then people say, okay, then we will change the structure or the processes, the policies that we have. This is like a tree. When a tree is small, it's growing, then if the tree is moving or bending, you could set something to get up. And then the roots of that tree will follow, will set up that. But think about a typical tree with hundreds of years that is there for some generations, and then if you think about, okay, I have to change the culture that is underground, and then how do you remove the roots of that tree? And this is really, really hard to do. Side note. That's one. If you don't set the incentives in large organizations, you get resistance. I will talk about resistance in a while. If you don't get the resources for that, then you get frustration because people maybe is focused on so many things at a time, and then it's not able to really do that change. And if you don't set up an action plan, you get false starts. You will try something, but well, now this is more important. Then then stop that change, move on. The business is a critical thing, and then forget about that change that you are doing, and so on. Another thing that is important for deal with a change is to think that time is linear, but change is not. Because this is the typical idea that top management have about change. You are here in that latest status quo, we are in that level of performance, and then the change will move all the whole organization to their new status quo with better performance in that exact time, because we only have 6 months for do that. But change don't work in that way. Change, as Virginia Satir's model of change said, when you, and also when it's also another thing to think about, that when you set up an outside influence in an organization, you will get resistance for the organization. And that resistance, that time, that energy wasting or resist the change will provoke that the performance of the organization will go down. Till that point of inflection in where, okay, maybe people think better or see the benefit of the change and then go up with the integration of the change, and then, we will get the new status quo now with better performance that we have before the change. Another change of model, but this is something that is a bit ambiguous because it's not quite accurate. Ever Rogers said that innovation adoption model that said that in every organization or every innovation thing, you will get, or people will behave with the change or with the innovation. It's set up by innovation, but work well with change also. And then you will get innovators that will, in that case, are the techies, that will start the change, will start the innovation. You will get early adopter visionaries that are eager to learn new things, to do new things, and then you have the chance. The chance separate that innovators for the rest of the organization. The rest of the organization, you have the pragmatic people that is waiting for instruction for moving. Okay, we are here. Okay, this is something that management say. Okay, move on with that. But you will also have the conservatives, late majority, another bunch of people that said, okay, management said that, but I will resist to that as long as possible. Also, yeah, and the last one, the laggards, the safeties, then that will never work in that company. I resist completely for that. But that model, the Professor Rogers said some random numbers here and there, and they said that this is 2.5%, that is 7%, whatever. Don't worry about that because that is not accurate. Every organization has a different number or percentage of people in that way. And for understanding that, I think in another talk, someone talk about the Accelerate book. In the Accelerate book, they talk about Versturm, organization culture, and set 3 different types of companies. The first one is the pathological, so common, also related with big corps, in which, are power-oriented. There are a lot of amount of fear and people hide information and distort to make themselves to look better. You have a lot of people in that side resisting the change, and few people here, low innovator or a few innovators, some early adopters, but the people mainly are in that way. Why they are in that place? Because if they fear that change breaks something, and they try to avoid that. The second type is bureaucratic, rule-oriented. Each department in the organization protects itself. And each one wants to maintain their space and instead to do all by the rules, all by the book, their own book. There is no collaboration between the departments. And then their own, play their own game, but don't collaborate between them. And then Versturm also said the third type of organization, the generative type. You think about the startups are more focused on that, are like that type. They are focused on a mission. Everything is subordinated to a good performance and to doing whatever you're supposed to do. You will have a lot of people in that side, a lot of innovators, a lot of early adopters. Maybe you have some pragmatics here and there that are more like, okay, but I will expect, or I will wait a bit for get that thing running, This is interesting to know, because when you are leading a change, you need to know who is who in the organization. Who will be your allies, that the innovators, early adopters, who will be neutral, the majority, early or late majority, and who will be against you, who will be doing all the possible for, set you down, and then I call them not the laggards, but the les saboteurs. The final tip is always be ready for the saboteurs, because they, as Upton Sinclair was an American writer that said that it's difficult to get a man to understand something when his salary depends upon his not understanding it. And the laggards in all of the organizations, you will find people doing that kind of behaving in that way, because they are protecting, they are surviving in the organization, and they don't want to change anything because it's their context, environment that is good for them. My first idea of deal with that kind of people is use, again, Gordon Ramsay people management model. But, it's illegal in some countries or something. But I think that is quite interesting to know how that people sabotage you. Then some ideas about to deal with that, because they will try to do that kind of things. They will try to ask frequently as possible and great length all the questions, whatever thing. The minimal issue with I have a queue email or something like that. Ask only questions, engage a lot of, and set everyone in copy. In all the message, there's everyone there. Bring irrelevant issues as irrelevant issues as frequently as possible. Handle over the prices wording, refer back to matters that was decided, doing that kind of, create that kind of ball of mood, and then complicating everything. That I get that simple sabotage final. I feel I get that from my experience, but when I read that in the CEI or manual for sabotaging companies, then I get that, okay, that people come read that and then they are applying that. And 3 minutes. It's all from my side. Chimpun, you know what means. It's your time for if you want to ask something.